Hello guys, and welcome to the Relocate Handbook. Portugal offers two visa routes for Americans who want to live there legally. The D7 for passive income and the D8 for digital nomads. Both lead to permanent residency, both lead to citizenship, and the income thresholds, tax rules, and application costs are completely different. In this video, we're going to break down everything. What each visa requires, what it actually costs, how you'll be taxed in both countries, and the exact path from visa to Portuguese citizenship in 5 years. Every number in this video is sourced from Portuguese legislation, current as of March 2026. Let's start with the fundamental question. Which visa is right for you? The D7 is Portugal's passive income visa. It's designed for people who live off income that doesn't require daily work, such as pensions, investment dividends, rental income, or royalties. If you are retiring on a social security and a 401k, this is your visa. The D8 is the digital nomad visa. It was introduced in October 2022, and it's for people who work remotely for companies or clients outside Portugal. Software engineers on US salaries, freelance designers, or founders running distributed businesses. The distinction matters because consulates increasingly direct freelancers towards the D8, even when freelance income could technically qualify as passive. If you're actively performing work, expect to apply under the D8. Here's a side-by-side comparison. The income type is different, the thresholds are different, but the initial permit length, the path to permanent residency, and the path to citizenship are identical. Both reach citizenship at the 5-year mark. Now let's talk money, what you actually need to show. Both thresholds are tied to Portugal's national minimum wage, which rose to 920 euros per month in 2026. The D7 requires 1 times the minimum wage, 920 euros a month. The D8 requires 4 times, 3,680 euros a month. For families, the math scales up. Each spouse or dependent adult adds 50% of the applicable threshold. Each child under 18 adds 30%. So a D8 couple with 1 child needs 3,680 plus 1,840 plus 1,104. That's a total of 6,624 euros per month in demonstrable remote income. Quick note, many guys still cite the 3,480 euros for the D8. That was the 2025 figure based on the old 870 euro minimum wage. If your income sits between those two numbers, you would not meet the current requirement. You'll also need a Portuguese bank account with savings. The specific amount varies by consulate. Some want 3 months of your threshold, others want up to 12. Aim for around 6 to 12 months to avoid surprises. So how much does this whole thing actually cost? A single applicant should budget approximately 800 to 1,500 euros for the full visa process, excluding legal representation. And here's the breakdown. The visa application itself costs around 110 euros, paid to the Portuguese consulate. The AIMA residence permit runs 150 to 170 euros. Document translations and apostilles are the wild card, anywhere from 500 to over 1,000 euros depending on your situation. An FBI criminal record check is about $18, and health insurance is required, but the cost varies by provider. The NIF, Portugal's tax ID number, is free if you apply in person at the finances office. Third-party services charge you 50 to 150 euros for what is essentially a 15-minute task. If you're already in Portugal on a tourist visa, do it yourself. Legal representation is optional. The application is a document submission, not a hearing. But if your income structure is unusual, mixed passive and active, multiple countries, or a business entity, an immigration lawyer can prevent costly delays. Tax implications in Portugal. This is where most people get confused, so pay attention. Spend 183 days or more in Portugal during a tax year and you become a Portuguese tax resident, liable for tax on worldwide income. The 2026 progressive tax rate starts at 12.5% on the first 8,342 euros and climbed to 48% above 86,634 euros. There are 9 brackets in total. Now, the question everyone's asked, what about the NHR? Portugal's non-habitual resident program ended January 1st, 2025. Its replacement is called IFICI, and here's the critical thing most guides get wrong. IFICI is not a general expat tax break. IFICI offers a flat 20% rate for 10 years, but only for people employed by Portuguese companies in specific sectors: research, technology, innovation, startups. You need a doctorate or bachelor's with at least 3 years of experience. If you're a software developer working remotely for a US company, you almost certainly do not qualify. The single biggest misconception in D7 and D8 guides is treating IFICI as NHR 2.0. Most visa holders will pay standard progressive rates. For self-employed workers, Social Security runs about 15% of gross income effectively. New self-employed workers get a 12-month exception. Moving to Portugal does not end your US tax obligations. American citizens owe federal income tax on worldwide income regardless of where they live. But 2 provisions can reduce your US liability to 0. First, the foreign earned income exclusion. In 2026, this excludes up to $132,900 per person from US federal tax, plus a housing exclusion of about $39,870. Second, the foreign tax credit. This gives you a dollar-for-dollar credit for Portuguese taxes paid with no cap. Because Portuguese rates exceed US rates at most income levels, the FTC often eliminates your US liability entirely. If you earn under $132,900, the FEIE is usually simpler. Above that threshold, the foreign tax credit typically saves more. But once you revoke an FEIE election, you must wait 5 years to re-elect it. Get this decision right the first time. It's really important. You'll also need to file an FBAR if your foreign accounts exceeds $10,000 and FATCA 8938 if foreign assets exceeds $200,000. Visa to citizenship timeline. Both D7 and D8 visas follow the same residency ladder. Here's exactly how it works. Step 1. The entry visa. It's valid for 4 months. It's issued by Portuguese consulate after your D7 or D8 application is approved. You must enter Portugal and begin the residency permit process within this window. Step 2. Your first residence permit. 2 years. Applied for at AIMA after you arrive. Budget 3 to 6 months for processing. AIMA replaced SEF in 2023 and it still faces backlogs, so be patient. Step 3. Renewal. Your permit renews for successive 3-year periods. You need to show continued income and accommodation. Step 4. Permanent residency. Available at the 5-year mark. Requires no criminal convictions over 1 year and proof of income and accommodation and basic Portuguese language knowledge. Step 5. Citizenship. That's also available at year 5. You'll need a Portuguese A2 language certificate, and Portugal accepts dual citizenship, so does the United States, so you can in effect hold both passports at the same time. 5 years to a second passport is among the fastest timelines in Europe, and with a Portuguese passport, you get visa-free travel to 190 plus countries and full EU residence rights. Financial steps before applying. Here's your preparations checklist. First, get your NIF, Portugal's tax ID number. Apply online via ePortugal. You'll need a fiscal representative as a non-EU resident or in person at a finance office for free. Every other step depends on this number. Second, open a Portuguese bank account. Requires your NIF number and passport. Major banks, like for example Millennium BCP, generally accept Americans despite FATCA reporting. Deposit your savings requirement. Third, secure accommodation. A signed rental contract or property deed is required for the visa application. Fourth, get health insurance. Private health insurance valid in Portugal is required for both D7 and D8 applications. Fifth, gather and prepare your documents. Employment contracts, 6 months of bank statements, tax returns, criminal record checks, all translated and apostilled. Start this 3 to 6 months before your target application date. And there it is, the complete D7 and D8 financial picture for 2026. We've linked the full written guide in the description. It includes word tax examples, the full bracket table, and every government source cited in this video. If this was useful, subscribe. We publish guides on visas, tax planning, and the real cost of moving to Portugal, Spain, and beyond. Thank you so much for watching.